In this video, we are going to take a simple look at what grammatical cases are, first in English, then in Latin, and we'll start with the two simplest ones, the nominative and the accusative. We'll practice with several sentences, and finally, we'll look at more than 1 and 2 and 3 English derivatives of the vocabulary. And here's a curious one. The English word puppet comes from the Latin pupa, meaning doll. So first, grammatical cases, what are they? The ending of nouns, adjectives, pronouns changes to indicate the syntactic function of the word in the specific sentence. So it shows if a word is the subject or the direct object, etc. For example, in English we have he sees me, I don't see him, and this he, him is in this case John. So John sees me, I don't see John, but he, him, they are two different pronouns. Because in the first sentence, he is the subject, but in the second sentence, it is the direct object. And then we have, she loves me, I don't love her. She, her is the same person, Lucy, but in the first sentence, she is the subject, her is the object. Now, in English, grammatical cases are kind of restricted to pronouns, like we see here, but in Latin, it is pronouns, nouns, adjectives, etc. And in Latin we have 6 cases, but we are going to focus on these two, nominative and accusative. Nominative for the subject, accusative for the direct object. So for example here we see Puella habet pupam, the girl has a doll. And notice that in Latin we could also say pupam habet puella, and the sentence means exactly the same, because it is not the word order, but the ending of the word that says what is the subject, what is the direct object. So here we see a is the subject, am is the object. So that's it. That's the grammar, that's the theory for today. Now let's put it into practice. We're going to do a few sentences like this. You have to fill in the gaps, sometimes with a, sometimes with am. And because we said that the word order in Latin doesn't matter, so there's no confusion, I'm also giving you the translation so that you know perfectly well what the sentence is supposed to mean and what endings you have to provide in these gaps. And later, with many of these words, we are going to see some English derivatives. Many of them are quite obvious, pictura, picture, some of them a bit less, delectat, delights, but I hope that you learn not only some grammar, but also some vocabulary. So we have the picture delights the girl. Now it would be perfect if you pause the video for a moment, think, do you have to add a, am, and then continue with the video to see that the solution is pictura puellam delectat. And because we said that the word order doesn't matter in Latin, we could also have with the same meaning all these versions and more. Puellam pictura delectat puellam, puellam delectat pictura, etc. Anyway, let's continue. The tunic delights the girl. The solution is puellam tunica delectat. Then we have the maidservant sees the picture now. Picturam serva nunc videt. The next one, the maidservant doesn't carry the doll. Serva pupam non portat. Who has the amulet? And this one is slightly tricky, so think well. The solution is quis bullam habet. This one was a bit tricky because we only have one gap. So you had to take into account that the subject was already provided, quis, who. So the amulet, bullam. Who loves the dove? Here again, quis columbam amat. The girl and the maidservant look at the island. Puella et serva insulam spectant. The tunic and the amulet delight the girl. Tunica et bulla puellam delectant. The girl looks at the island now. Puella insulam nunc spectat. The maidservant takes care of the girl. Puellam serva curat. The barbarian land is beautiful. And be careful because this sentence is also tricky. So, terra barbara pulcra est. Now, why not terra barbara pulcram est? Because with the verb to be, we never have an object. So something is whatever, both something and whatever are in the nominative case. And that's also how it is at least supposed to be in English. If we are very prescriptive, very conservative with the grammar, we wouldn't be supposed to say, it is me. We would be supposed to say, it is I. You might have had some teacher telling you this when you were a child. And that is the reason. With the verb to be, both in Latin and in conservative English, you use the case of the subject, so the nominative, and the pronouns I, he, she, we, they, instead of me, him, her, us, them. Anyway, I hope you did great with these exercises. We are done with the grammar for now. Let's go now for the vocabulary. We already know that pupa, pupam in the accusative, as it appears in the exercises, is the origin of puppet. Pictura, picture, this one quite obvious. Delectat, delights, but also delicious, delectable. Serva, servant, and the verb to serve. Nunc, notice that I didn't put an arrow because it is not that English now comes from Latin nunc, but they are related. Just nunc is the Latin version, now is the English version of the same ancestor. Then we have videt, English video, and this one is curious. Columba, dove, gives us Columbus, as in Christopher Columbus, so pretty much his last name means dove, pigeon. And from Columbus we have Columbia. From amat, literally he, she loves, we have, for example, amorous. From insula, island, insulation. From spectant, quite obvious, spectator. And from curat, we have curation or even accurate. Accurate is something that has been done with a lot of care. And then we also have adjectives such as curative or curable, but the meaning is kind of different. It is about taking care of someone to heal them. Then from terra we have terrestrial, terrain, terracotta. This one is actually curious because it comes from Italian terracotta, which literally means baked mud. And also terra firma, terra firma, the dry land, as opposed to the sea or the air. From pulcra we have pulchritude, and I left for the end portat. We have, for example, portable, but as it usually happens, if we add Latin prepositions, quite often they translate kind of directly into English. So for example, we have import, to carry in, export, to carry out, report, to bring back news, or transport, to carry across. So we see the correspondence between the Latin preposition and the English preposition. And by the way, English is not my first language, obviously, so I don't know how much this is actually said, but apparently there is such an expression, which is to go into transports over, for example, a present. That means that you are carried away. Let me know if this is a thing. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, if you are now curious about learning Latin, check out my Latin from Scratch course at latinfromscratch.com. Or if you're not ready for the commitment but want more of this, subscribe to my newsletter at latinfromscratch.com/newsletter.